Hello, hello, YouTube. It's another live Q&A, and I am going to just share my screen here, and so you guys can see my Cordy app. And awesome, that means you are all able to see my Cordy app, and yep, I can see that the broadcast is going on well. And I'm just going to go on live for the Inspired Keys Academy members only website, Facebook group, and gonna go live now. Worship Keys live Q&A starts now. Cool. Okay, just gonna go ahead and share this and go live on Facebook. And here I am live. Okay, thanks so much for your patience. As always, a lot of technical stuff going on at the start. Hello, hello, everybody. It's really good to jump on to another live Q&A with you guys. So it's the 16th of November, and here I am with some live Q&A, a live Q&A session to answer some worship keys questions. And basically how this works is while you watch live, you're very welcome to watch. Well, okay, so those of you who are watching on YouTube, you will only see my Cordy app, which is the app that shows what I'm playing on my keyboard. Okay, so just on YouTube, you will, yep, I can see that the live is definitely going well. And then, of course, on Facebook Live, that's where access this YouTube link to see what I'm playing. Cool. Okay, so this is a session where I answer Inspired Keys Academy members' questions on worship keys. And usually I sort of collect questions over the course of 2 weeks or so, and I answer them in this session. However, if any Inspired Keys Academy member is watching live right now, your question gets answered first or with priority. You can ask and pop your question in our Facebook Live chat on the right side, and you're very welcome to ask that, and I will give you priority to your question. So seeing that there are no questions being asked on the Facebook Live chat right now, I'm going to jump right into our first worship keys question today, which is from Fernando, and he shared a video, so I'm just going to go ahead and play right now the video, and let's see what I can say for his playing.
This is Fernando from Dominican Republic, and as per our email exchange in the videos you sent me, thank you for that. Actually, I'm recording this video so that you see what I can do and you give me your evaluation and also recommendation. I'm going to sing the song "How Great Is Our God" in Spanish. Please bear with me with that, because for me it's still very difficult to sing and play at the same time. So here it goes. El esplendor del Rey, vestido en majestad. La tierra alegre está, la tierra alegre está, cubierto está de luz. Dios nos cuida y tiembla su voz, y tiembla su voz. Cuán grande es Dios, cántale, cuán grande es Dios, y todos lo verán. Cuán grande es Dios. Día a día está el que no está en él, principio y el fin, principio y el fin. La Trinidad en Dios, el Padre, Hijo y Espíritu, Cordero y el León. you know, I think I can do more. And melodic patterns, harmonic patterns. I've been doing this for years, as I told you. So let me know, please. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Wow, Fernando, I just want to say thank you so much. As usual, it takes a lot of courage to be able to sing and play, let alone just doing that, but you are recording it, you are sharing it with the rest of the Inspired Keys Academy to get feedback for your playing. And I just want to honor you for doing that. It's really brave of you, and I really appreciate that, alongside the rest of the Academy and the rest of everyone who's watching this YouTube live video right now. So first up, let's get this across. Singing and playing is hard. You know, singing itself is not easy. Playing comes with a ton of complexity. So not to mention we have the right and the left hand to coordinate. So that's already two different instrument parts, if you think that way. To add in a voice would really be three instrument parts, 1, 2, and 3, right? So that's a lot to handle. So Fernando, you actually have been doing really well. What I'm hearing from the way you did your singing, you're singing fine. In fact, your singing is strong. It's very, it's got a very strong sense of leadership. So if you were to do exactly that in front of me, you are a worship leader. You will lead me into worship, because you don't start like uncertainly. You are very clear in your enunciation. You are very strong in your voice. So there's a lot of leadership in even just the tone and the emotions of the way you sing your melody line. So you really have to give yourself some credit for that, right? Singing. I mean, not a lot of people can sing well if they can play well. So really praise God for that gift to you. And then the second thing is, let's talk about your accompaniment. It is clear. It gets the job done. In fact, you threw in a lot of cool jazz transition chords at the chorus bit. So that's really advanced stuff, Fernando. That's really good. I would even just classify you as intermediate. You know, you could really go around and just play like that, and people can really be touched by God instead of being distracted by potential mistakes. I don't hear any mistakes, basically. So, you know, I was jotting down stuff on my notebook on what I will be able to share to just give you some feedback on your playing. They would be basically getting from where you are now, which is good, to hopefully, you know, to go up to your next level, which is very good playing. And I can see Bruce joined us. Hello, Bruce. Welcome to our Inspired Keys Academy Q&A. So Bruce, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop it into the chat, and I will be answering that as soon as I'm done giving some feedback for Fernando's playing. So let's see. What I will be able to say is, woohoo, cool. Good morning, Bruce. So first up, great job with the cool jazz chords. That gives me an understanding that you actually have some pretty advanced harmonic knowledge. So I might be able to throw you some alternative cool jazz chords as well. Okay, let me just go in order of what I wrote. So I noticed that most of the chord voicings you use are really sort of clean, classical kind of chords. So for example, it's, okay, so I'm just gonna turn on, so you can see what I'm doing here. And basically we're in the key of C, so I might as well just change that to here, like key of C, and then also let's just, I like the way this does not sustain on overlay. So da, 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 right? That's what you're doing. Da, 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 something along those lines, right? So basically we're seeing some very, very clean chords. And every time I come into this topic, I have to give a disclaimer. It's not wrong to use clean classical chords. We're seeing lots of 1, 3, 5s, and then, you know, like A minor. Nothing wrong with it. When we play in a very contemporary pop style for a lot of the worship songs we hear, though, they don't necessarily use clean chords. There are some of them, but then sometimes we don't really hear the 1, 3, 5, like for the key of a chord of C major. Quite often we hear something like an open sound where it's a C, D, G instead of C, E, G in the middle. So I would like to recommend that you could check out a couple of things. First up, I'm going to share with you the course on awesome worship voicings, worship keys voicings. And there is a handout inside where you can basically steer away from the clean chords and use some of these cooler, contemporary sounding chord voicings that will sometimes be even more appropriate to the worship songs that we play. And of course, it depends on the genre of worship songs. If it's a hymn, if it's a very old style kind of doxology kind of song, then maybe clean chords can work pretty well. Chris Tomlin, there's quite a bit of contemporary voicings involved. So I would probably use da 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 da. So this is how I will choose to play it. And then the next one's A minor. I will then want to send you the next link, which is on Everlasting 1 and 5. Basically, it's a convenient but awesome, it just sounds better, but it's easier to play, where you use a ton of just 1 and 5 of the key. In this case, it's C major, so 1, 5 would be C, G. So basically, you have a lot of the C and the G going on, no matter what chord you play. So the next one's chord A minor. I might use da 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 da. So can you see how there's a ton of 5, 1, and 5 on my right hand, but my left hand is still keeping to the true identity of the chord, which is an A minor chord. So instead of doing da da da, which is very clean or very classical sounding, I might use that da. I might also throw in a couple of additional notes that might add to the harmonic complexity of how it sounds. So maybe something like, that's I think quite nice, but I won't do it for all 4 or all of the beats. I might resolve the B up to the C sometimes, so I might da da so that the B sort of traveled up to C and then up to D and back to C again as like an inner voice. I just think that's quite cool. So that's just an idea that you are very welcome to just pick up and use. Beginning and the end. I might throw in a B here. Something like that. I might throw in an E as well, alongside the Everlasting 1 and 5. So there's a lot of additional notes that you can play around with. I want you to explore it, figure out something cool, just by trying and going into a new harmonic realm in these subtle ways. Like most of it's the same. You're basically throwing in the Everlasting 1 and 5, but also adding some extra notes. The reason why I'm going into such like advanced stuff is because I think you can handle it. Like you're doing some really cool stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to throw out all these cool stuff. If it ever gets too hard, just write back to let me know. And I know you can't watch today. That's completely fine. You're very welcome to watch the replay and respond to me. And I'll be happy to maybe just play a different version for you if you require in our next live Q&A or even before that. So yeah, Everlasting 1 and 5, throwing in some cool additional notes. What else did I say here that I wanted to share with you? Try contrasting. Yeah, okay. So what I heard was basically verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2. Actually, I'm also wondering how you would play the bridge, because the way you play the bridge can really also add to the climax of the song. But really, that's something that I think is something you can try to do a little bit differently in our second time versus our first time. Whether it's a second time verse or chorus, make it different from the first time verse or chorus. My piano teacher used to say, if you ever see a passage in your piece, and of course it's a classical piece, but if you ever see it's a direct repeat of the 4 bars, so you see a passage and you see that same passage with the same notes and same rhythms, always do them differently. And I've come to apply that even in worship playing, because you can think of it as people get bored. The ear just gets bored quickly. So contrast brings about more interest, which then sustains attention, which also gets rid of monotony. So I will be sending you a link on how to create contrasts in the way we play, but I'm going to throw in some examples. One of the things you can do is to change your chord voicing and shape where possible at the start of a song, or whenever it's very low. Low, I mean in terms of dynamics, where it's very quiet, maybe at the start or very end of a song when things get a bit more prayerful and meditative. I try to use something with fewer notes, so I guess you can describe it as thinner texture. I also try to use something with the sort of the low to the mid-range. Then whenever I try to build, I'll move my right hand a little bit more to the right side, sort of half an octave up. So if I were having a lot of G's, I'll start moving up to the C area. And if that gets a bit boring, then if I have another climax, maybe at the bridge area, I'll start using the top G area, and I will demonstrate that. So that gives a sense of contrast, that even in your playing, you're building up in dynamics. And once again, Fernando, this is a question I always ask. I'm not sure if you are playing in the context of being by yourself, so that there's just one piano leading in worship, or is the piano playing with another instrument? Because you've got to always think about the totality of the sound. So if you have another guitarist, maybe a full band, you want to give other people the limelight. So if the guitar is strumming, trung, 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 I probably don't want to steal the limelight and go. I mean, that's just like, guys, I want to be important. You know, that's competing. And when we compete like this, it's not the best use of resources. Fernando, in your case, just based on the way you play, I'm going to assume it's just you. So the advice I give you and the way I'm going to play is going to be very piano driven and piano heavy. But that's also because I'm going to assume it's just one piano leading. If you have a full band or someone else, please give other people the occasions to be more in the limelight. And then there are moments when you can do your piano runs, or you can do stuff that only the piano can do, that can really add more, I guess, instrumental excitement, interest in the overall sound. So put on your hat of a music arranger and go like, okay, look, if someone else is playing, I'll let them play, or maybe I'll just do like a few things, or I'll add more bass notes, or if there's a bassist, just don't even play, right? And come in only at the parts when you feel is like necessary, which probably is sometimes just the intro, or just the meditative parts in between. That's sometimes the role of the keyboardist, right? We're always the ones to sort of fill in at the maybe sometimes more meditative moments, unless you've got all these cool synth sounds that you can throw in at the chorus, if there is a full band. So contrast. So I think what's a great thing to do is maybe I'll just demonstrate how I'll do this. Okay, so we're starting the song. I'm actually thinking about how you started the song. So Fernando, you were kind of just like something like that, or there was like a pentatonic thing you did, which was really quite cool. Think about how you want to start in a way that really establishes the mood of the song. So I might just even just do the first few, or maybe just the first chorus, something like a. And you can even think about maybe doing it less intensively, because the song kind of was just born, right? It's just beginning. So maybe something a little bit more, if you have a pad, even better still, just kind of hold it and let the pad carry through. No pad, just do like. So just punctuate sort of the beat one of every bar. Something like that, really simple. Let's go to the bridge. I'm so tired of the C sound. Let's go up a bit more. And maybe the second part can be different. Okay, so for now I'm gonna, for the record, just kind of add some kind of jazz stuff in this one. Sing with me, it's our God. It's our God. It's our God. So basically, I mean, you can guess, you can see that when I start doing more complex stuff on piano, I can't even sing, right? So it's hard, and I'm not fantastic at singing and playing at the same time. But I was kind of just like, okay, you know what? You did some jazzy stuff, and I'm gonna stretch you. So I was just kind of thinking of all the cool jazzy stuff I could think of for the chorus section. So yeah, 3 links I'm gonna send you to check out the awesome voice sings training in the Inspired Keys Academy. Also on using Everlasting 1 and 5, and the 3rd one, which is on how to contrast sections. So yeah, I really hope you find this little feedback session helpful. Thank you once again, Fernando, for sending your recording. And David joined us, Tracy joined us. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out to join us. I know you guys are in the States, so I can imagine it must be a really terrible, sort of crazy hour, but thank you for joining us. Great. Please, those of you who are here, Bruce, Tracy, and David, if you have any questions, please pop them into the live chat. Otherwise, I don't see any questions in there, so I'm actually going to answer the next question, which is from Boram. And Bo, for short, let's see her question. So, what are some things to keep in mind for an intro to a song that doesn't have an intro in the original recording? That's a great question, because you kind of need to invent something. For example, last week I played No Longer Slaves. Woohoo! And this week I'm playing Good Father in a prayer meeting. Whoa! I love playing for prayer meetings. It's just, there's a lot of room for spontaneity, which I really like. Where I like to give the people a few moments to prepare themselves rather than jump right into the singing. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So you know what? Thank you. Thanks a lot, Bo. I really appreciate your question. And that is a brilliant question. I'm just thinking where to start. And I'd like to demonstrate some stuff, but I kind of need to Google what the key is, because I know you may not be doing the general key that we always hear in recordings and stuff, but I just wanted to make sure I keep to as much of the originality of the song as possible. I'll be happy to demonstrate how I'll do No Longer Slaves and Good Good Father. And usually the general guideline that I kind of recommend from my experiences with prayer meetings is you do want to, because you said you want to give people a few moments to prepare themselves, which is necessary, and sometimes silence can do the job. But if you have an instrument, why not use it? And then here's the all-important question: do you have an instrument that uses pad and piano, or perhaps even pad only? So that's where main stage comes in really awesome, because if I were to just even now change my screen to main stage and show you what I have, if I can find, yes, there we go, right? So this is my main stage screen. And people on YouTube, I'm sorry, I'm not going to switch programs around. It does take a bit too much time for me to, unshare my screen and then use this software and stuff. But basically, there are a lot of sliders, and there's the slider of the piano and there's a slider of the pad. Whenever I feel like I want to just slide up my pad, I can just, that's it, just slide up the pad sound, and then I instantly have a. And the awesome thing about pads is because it's such an unintrusive sound, and it sustains, right? Not like piano where you just hit it and it's just an automatic decrescendo, which doesn't really do very much for creating a sense of stillness, because if you want to keep producing a sound, you got to keep playing. But then the piano, if you think about the mechanism, the sound is produced by striking the hammer on a string. So essentially it is a percussion instrument. And the more you play the piano, which can be done in a very warm and gentle and meditative way, which I can demonstrate. If you have a pad, that's even better, because then you can play a bit less and create more sense of space. So, okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate both. If you just have piano, because I don't actually know if you have piano or pad or piano and pad. So if I were to just use piano, and I'm just going to switch back to Cordiette right now, and I guess maybe, okay, let's just Google what the key is for No Longer Slaves. Okay, No Longer Slaves key, I guess, if people will ever Google that. Oh, key of B flat. So yeah, that sounds right. Okay, cool. So though in general, I think if there is no official intro to any song, I will probably use the verse chords. Just because right from there, people will sing the verse chords. So it's a very predictive thing. People can already flow right into it without having to learn a whole new set of chord progression. So verse chords, that's my first choice. If maybe the moment continues to develop very long and then you're getting stale of repeating the verse chords a lot, then I will subtly go into some of the chorus chords, because I mean, we're in a prayer meeting setting where everything's kind of spontaneous. You don't know where you're actually like structured. You're going to sing the first verse after doing the intro chords or verse chords like 2 rounds, right? You may not know it's 2 rounds. You may have to do 10 rounds, or it might flow on and on. I don't know. So we don't know. So basically what I'll do is do verse chords, and then I might go into chorus, because yeah, that's just a great way to just get rid of the monotony of the verse chords, which we've heard a lot of times. So let's just do a demo of if a piano and pad, I'll probably do something like, sorry, B flat. And here's where I should change this to B flat major. So basically I am blasting my piano and my pad right now. So I'm just going to try and play really like very little, but first primarily just the intro verse chords. So in my brain, I'm actually thinking of the So basically, it's just a lot of the chord itself. I might occasionally do something like a fill. What's really important in my opinion though is to try to keep your, as you can see from my right hand, I'm primarily on 1, 2, and 5 all the time. Try not to have to move around with your chord voicings. There is a course inside the Academy on voicings, right? You want to keep your voicings as still as possible. Don't jump around with different chord shapes, because then it's just going to be very disruptive, which I feel is not very appropriate for any context really. Whether it's a meditative moment or a very high moment, I wouldn't do like so can you hear how the top note just jumps around like crazy? I don't like that. And I personally, honestly get quite distracted when people play like that in services, because I mean, I'm just very sensitive to how the voicing is not still. It's not creating a conducive environment for people to just focus on one thing. We're just hearing the jumping lines, which sound bad to me. So I will recommend that. I will recommend playing sort of like stuff like what you saw there in the inner voicings. There was a 4/3 suspension. So okay, so that's how I'll do the intro if I have piano and pad. But if I don't have piano and pad, let's say I just have piano, I might just do some kind of very gentle but conducive and worshipful kind of piano figurations, like and then maybe I'll just repeat that. And maybe this is the part when people start singing. And that's how the rest of the song falls, right? So cool. I really hope you find that useful. And now I'm going to jump into Good Good Father, which I believe is in the key of G major, but I do not know. So I'm going to Good Good Father key. Good Good Father. Okay, yep, it's the key of A major. Okay, cool. Yep, took me a while. Well, ultimate guitar says G, so I really don't know if it's G or A. I am going to change this to, I'm just going to assume it's A, and then, yeah, let's go from A. So something like, so once again, if I jack up my pad sound, then I'll now have piano and pad, and then how would I play Good Good Father intro? So yeah, you're right, because from what I remember of Chris Tomlin's recording, Good Good Father is, it's kind of just like chord 1 on repeat, right? The intro. So, but you can't really do that because it's just going to get too stale. And if you want to give people some moment to prepare, I think you're going to need more chords than just the first chord. So I would probably do like, so how does the song go? Da, 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 da. Yeah, I'll probably just play through the verse, which has some chords changing at the end, right? So maybe I'll do like, in my head, I'm actually singing the song. So I don't know, but I find the verse chords a little bit too, like, I don't feel it's very repeatable. Yeah, I just don't feel it is. And this is maybe, it's just a very personal opinion. So that's why I found that I just kind of went right into the chorus chords. And I know you guys haven't even sung the song yet, but if you have quite a few moments to spare, then I'll probably play the chorus chords. Good, good Father. Actually, you know what I find is very repeatable? I really like, okay, the chorus is very repeatable, the bridge is very repeatable. So I might actually go into So basically the guideline is to play the chords and to flow from one chord to another in as still or similar a chord voicing as possible with fills, but just to keep it very simple, okay? So because you're kind of just setting the mood, the song has not even begun. So you want to keep it small, because if you grow, then you need to think about how much more to grow when the real song starts. So you don't want to grow too much. I mean, you can grow, but because as with all things, it gets boring if it's done the same way. And I have no idea how long it's going to take before the song actually starts, if we're going in a very, very, very flowing with the Holy Spirit kind of thing. Okay, now I'm going to take off my pad and just do piano. So if it's just piano, it would be, I'll do like a, I'll just probably play through the song really. I think that's this is like a nice, it's a 6/8, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. In my brain, I'm just thinking of the song. In your brain, you gotta have that metronome clicking. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I think that really this chorus set of chords can flow very nicely into the verse as well. So if you are playing that, which is the chorus chords, and then the worship leader's like, okay, let's start the song, you can quite easily go back into da, 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 da. So yeah, that would be my suggestion on how to go about the intros of The Good Father and No Longer Slaves. I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know more about your context. Are you guys really that flowy? How many minutes worth of intro do you think you'll be playing? Or have you guys usually been playing in your worship, in your prayer meetings? Also, let me know what instrumentation you have, and any other questions you may have from this feedback and answer. So really, really want to thank you, Boram, for that really, really good question. And I am just pretty much sure I've finished answering that question. So cool. I am now just looking at our chat. Cool. Let's have a look. Mark joined us. Hello, Mark. So sorry, team. Our rehearsals for Doctrine is Thursday nights for a couple hours. Practice makes perfect, and we do treat our rehearsals seriously. God bless. So, Mark, thank you so much. Well, look, if you can't join us, you can always watch the replay. And that's why you can just ask questions beforehand, and I'll be happy to answer the questions. Look, guys, I have no more questions for from the 2 weeks before this. I also don't see any other questions on our live chat. I really want to thank everyone who joined us live today. And of course, feel free to watch the replay. I have a good quality recording of this that I will be sending just to the Inspired Keys Academy members. We always record a proper version of this. It's not just the YouTube replay link, although you're very welcome to watch that alongside this live video. And I really hope the rest of you in YouTube have been blessed also by this this live video. And I can see that we've got Moody, Munyin. Hey, Munyin. Hey, hello. Irvin, Ali, and Lewis joined us. Thank you so much, all of you who are watching from YouTube Live. Now, I am unable to answer your questions because this Q&A is for Inspired Keys Academy members only, but you're very welcome to join the Academy and find out more at inspiredkeys.com/join, Join, to find out how you can become a member. And then you can ask questions or share a recording just like Fernando, or ask questions just like Boram, and have your questions answered or your feedback for your playing in this kind of a live Worship Keys Q&A on YouTube and on our Facebook Live, Facebook being our Inspired Keys Academy Facebook group. So yeah, I will pretty much finish right now. Let me just double check. Oh, cool. Wow. Okay, great. I just saw a question from Bruce. So glad you asked just before. I was just going to finish because I didn't want to take up too much of anyone's time. But Bruce, you asked, is there a special way to play arpeggios in 6/8 time? Okay. You know, the song I just played, which is Good Good Father, is 6/8. So feel free to propose another song just because that's fresh in my mind. I can use that as a demo song. Arpeggios. I would probably stick to the 6/8 rhythm, which is the 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So I'm thinking, say we're in a very sort of high and climactic moment of Good Good Father, right? So I might play something like You're a good, good father. So that's how I'll do it if there was like this really climactic moment and I'm done with just playing chord per chord. I might then start going up and down the scale on the right hand like that. So that's what I might do. If I want to increase in intensity, Bruce, then I will double that. So if it's 6/8, which means 6 quavers, then I'll start doing the semi-quavers. So something like, You're a good, good father. So as you can see, I don't really see how, I can't think of an arpeggio, like a strict arpeggio that's going to fit in nicely with a song, because arpeggios strictly are like, right, which is really kind of rigid and classical sounding. So I can't imagine how to fit that into Good Good Father in a tasteful or worshipful or even contemporary style. So as you can see, it's I kind of integrated it with arpeggios and some scales. So it's kind of mixed up, but the point is it's a very climactic section. So you want to create more movement during that really high chorus or maybe even the very high bridge so that there is some kind of an emotional rise during that time. Yeah, so I really hope that answered your question, Bruce. I will play it either alongside the 6/8 rhythm in quaver beats. For those of you watching in America, that would be quaver is 8th notes. 6/8 meaning 6/8 notes in a bar. Or I will double that in intensity so that there are 2 semi-quavers per semi-quaver beat. So if it's 1 and 2 and I don't actually know what the subdivision is for semiquavers in a 6/8 context. So in a compound time, so I might go like 2 and 1 and 2 and. So it's really a lot more. But I probably won't go into the 4 because that would be a bit too intense. Yeah. So thank you, Bruce. Please let me know if I answer your question or if you have any further questions from this. Okay, I really don't see any more response, so I shall finish here. You're very welcome to leave further comments to this post or to this live video in our Facebook group for Inspired Keys Academy members. And thank you so much, everybody, for your precious time. I am going to go from that. Cool, Bruce, thanks so much. I'm so glad it helps. The thing about this Facebook live chat, though, is it doesn't really pop up when there's a new message. I have to like scroll up to see if anyone responded. So that's like not really helpful. But thank you, Bruce, for joining us. Thank you, David. Thank you, Tracy. Really want to honor you guys for taking time to join us. Thank you, Mark, for joining us as well. And thank you to everybody in YouTube who joined us. I really hope this blessed you and helped you, gave you some fresh ideas in your worship keys playing. And once again, if you want to know more or even learn more as well, you're very welcome to join the Inspired Keys Academy. Just go to inspiredkeys.com/join. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a really great weekend. God bless you and see you soon.